Hi there, I'd just like to introduce Graeme Arnott, one of South Africa's foremost bird artists. And you'll find out quite a bit about him. And why don't you just introduce yourself?
Yes, I just brought you here first because this is the background to the crowned eagle painting which I'm doing for BirdLife South Arica. And you can see this is inspirational. It's on our property and we have this lovely view, one of the most beautiful rivers in South Africa, right on our doorstep. And here we have crowned eagles, we have even martial eagles now and again, fish eagles, long crested eagles, so it's quite a good spot for birds of prey. So I thought it would be a good idea to have a crowned eagle as the painting for the BirdLife South Arica.
Yeah, that's good. And yes, it's really a lovely setting, as you can see. This is typical of the Eastern Cape Valley bush.
And further up here we have Sibuya Game Reserve and Arica Park upstream from here. So we're actually very fortunate in having lots of wildlife around us. So Kenton is the place.
That's good.
Yeah.
Graeme, what medium do you use and how did you get started?
Well, I think my preferred medium is watercolour or gouache with a bit of white to get the detail. But when I get bigger paintings on canvases, I use acrylics because I'm too impatient for oil. It takes too long to dry.
Yeah.
But I think watercolour for birds gives that sort of loose, that light spontaneity which you need to get.
Mm. And how did you get started?
Well, I started off, you couldn't earn a living by art, especially as I hadn't any art background. So I started off teaching geography for 10 years, and then I met David Reed Henry, who was the British bird artist, and I then worked with him during one Christmas holidays, and he helped me with all the technique. And so that's how I really, and after that I started selling paintings. That's how it all began.
Ah, that's awesome. Now why don't you tell me about which books have you illustrated?
Well, I started off by doing educational books in what was then Rhodesia, and since then I've done the Birds of Prey Southern Africa, Peter Stein's book, which was really my first big project, and that really probably gave me more publicity than any other book. I've done other ones as well, like the shrikes of Southern Africa and the robins of Africa, in addition to other part illustrations like the black eagle and other ones like that.
Okay. And roberts.
And of course the roberts. Yes, the Robert 7. They had a panel of 5 artists, and I did most of the passerine birds, a lot of the passerine birds for that.
What concerns you about the future of our planet?
Well, I speak as a Southern African, and I think the biggest threat is the burgeoning population without the backup of education and medical facilities, and I think it's not sustainable the way we're going. And I think we live in one of the most beautiful parts of the world here in Southern Africa.
Agreed.
And I think it's a heritage that should be protected.
Why are you supporting BirdLife South Arica and donating a proportion of the sales of your paintings?
Well, I think BirdLife South Arica is one of the few examples of excellence in South Africa. You have so much in terms of corruption, and I see BirdLife South Arica as a beacon of hope for the future. And I think it's a worthy cause. If you keen on your natural history and your habitat, I think they're doing a great job.
What is your favourite bird?
Tim, that's a very hard question because the cliche to say the one you're working on at the moment, but in actual fact I quite enjoy the small passerines, although the birds of prey, and I'm also very fond of night birds, owls and the nightjars, so it's a difficult question. I've got lots of favourites, but probably the paradise flycatcher ranks quite high, and of course the barred owlet.
Okay, good. And how long does it take you to produce an artwork?
How long is a piece of string? It all depends whether you know the bird, whether you research the bird. A lot of the work goes in behind the scenes, like for instance, for most of the large eagles I have over the years developed anatomical drawings, scale drawings of them, and all this is something which is accruing knowledge. So it's very difficult to say how long a picture, because it starts way back with all the research. And I travel as much as I can to and sketch birds from life, because that I think is the real key to being a bird artist, is to know the birds in their natural habitat and trying to depict them as live birds from the field and not just as museum specimens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the interview.
A pleasure, Tim, a pleasure, and I hope it does well.
Thank you.